following program is intended for mature audiences.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
I don't understand what that means.
Zach doing the Winter Classic, Basically a Sports Show.
Yeah, I'm sitting outside at the student union.
And so, are you that crazy guy who just sort of talking to himself?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope people can see the headset, but my voice, I realize, is now echoing off the walls.
Excellent.
So, this will be fun.
I should make an announcement, too. There's two announcements, really, to be made.
Okay.
First
Three.
one.
I've got one.
Okay,
so.
okay. Here are my two, all right? First off, I just want to remind everyone again that the Ohio State Buckeyes are the 2014 national champions of college football. Undisputed national champions of the college football playoff.
You guys were right on Basically a Football Show. They've got to come up with a better name.
Yeah. But I just want to, in case any of our loyal listeners have forgotten, we kicked Alabama's ass when no one thought we could. Then we kicked Oregon's ass when no one thought we could. And now we stand atop the heap as the.
To be fair, your quarterback was a guy who said, "We're not here to play school."
I know. And thank goodness for that. Imagine if he had wasted his time studying for classes and stuff. Where would we be right now? I think our quarterback is also like 37 years old.
Well, he did say today that he's not going to go to the pros.
I got to give him credit for saying that because, I think if he had been a first-round pick, he should have done it because the money's only going to be there.
There's only 3 games to go off of. How are you supposed to know what he's going to be like?
I don't know. Somebody stupid like Cleveland would have drafted him.
Yeah. He's from Cleveland.
He's from there.
Right, exactly.
Won a national championship, so you know what would have happened.
He's one of ours.
Right.
They would have drafted him. Then both Manziel and Hoyer would have stunk up like 3 games each, and then people would have been like busting down the doors of the stadium to get this guy to start. He would have started, and it would have been terrible.
Mike, you would never guess that you didn't grow up here because that's right dead on the nose.
It's just replace Cleveland Browns with Toronto Maple Leafs and Ohio with Ontario, and it's the same thing.
But anyway, and my second announcement, and Zach, this is something that you and I should both be very proud of. Mm-hmm. We are doing this podcast with the funniest Canadian of all time. That would be our very own Mike, who was voted as such in an internet poll. I'm just going to leave it at that. Gives it a little more gravitas if you don't explain the whole thing.
Suck it, Jim Carrey.
That's right.
I'm leading him by 3 votes.
I saw that poll on the boards, and I said, I'm going to go in and vote for Mike as a write-in vote, just as a hoot. And I show up, and there he is listed in the choices. I'm like, well, hell, I got to vote for him, right? So I click on the vote, and he's leading the damn thing. I said, this is great. This is so perfect.
That's the difference of good and great.
Oh, no, that was awesome. I didn't even see myself on that. Like, when I first saw that, I just kind of skimmed through the list, and I was like, whatever. And then I checked again, like, holy crap, I'm there.
Yeah. It was, you read all these names, and it's like, blah, 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 blah. And then there's Mike's name, and I'm like, I've got to do this. And I thought, well, I'll probably be like the only one. And no, sure as shit, he's ahead of the pack. Funniest Canadian of all. Not just of late or this year or the last 6 months. No, of all time, folks. Mm-hmm. All time.
Funniest
all
Canadian of all time. Suck it, Rick Mercer.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
Well, to be fair, the Trailer Park Boys weren't even nominated.
Yeah, that was a travesty.
Yeah, because no offense. Well, I would have voted for Mike anyway, but my second vote would have gone to the Trailer Park Boys because that is one of the greatest comedies of all time, I think. It's just an outstanding show.
They are cultural treasures, yes.
Yeah. I discovered that on Netflix. Like the first time they popped up on Netflix, and I thought, well, I've heard about this show. I'm going to check it out. Oh, my God. It was just the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Apparently, they tried airing it in the States on, like, I think Comedy Central.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know.
It didn't get it very far. I'm like, what's wrong with you people? What's wrong with America?
You know why? Because there's so much swearing in it that you couldn't air it on anything but a premium channel down here because there's just you take away the swearing, and I don't know that it's even funny at that point.
Well, I think the swearing is a vital component to whatever it is that makes that show work.
Yeah, and if I watch, say, 3 or 4 episodes of that show right in a row, my language goes right down there with them. Every other word is just. Anyway, so those are my 2 announcements. Mike, what do you have?
Basically, A Geek Show is back. We are changing our recording time. We're going to be recording on Saturdays.
Okay.
We start this upcoming Saturday. So the lull is over. We've got our backlog out, and we're going to be hitting once a week once again. So very excited about that.
All right. And the Saturday recording should clear up a little bit of the logjam we have with all the shows kind of coming out all at the same time.
Well, I mean, the end of football season will help that too.
Yeah, but then we've got to move on to basically a curling show, which is going to take up a lot of our time. Basically a football show. I tell you, and just since we're talking about this, our shows are kicking ass, guys. I mean, every single one of them, the download numbers are up for all 3 shows, which I think is great. Yeah. People, believe it or not, for reasons passing understanding, sit down and listen to all 3 of our shows every week.
I can't remember if I brought this up on air or not, but a number of our listeners just coincidentally all said that they were listening to a bunch of our shows on December 23rd, which means that we are a Festivus tradition.
Yes, and that's even better, yeah. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I don't understand it, but I love it.
On top of all of that, I also wanted to give a shout-out to your Buckeyes for making it once again possible to ridicule University of Oregon for not wearing their school colors.
Zach and I talked about it on the football show. I liked the uniforms themselves, but I don't understand why a team would not wear any of their team colors during a national championship game.
All they had to do was wear what they wore during the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Nike wouldn't let them do that.
They could say no.
No, they can't. Nike would not let them say no.
Yeah, no, because Nike supplies everything for them.
I just imagine if someone says no, that Nike just like, okay, that's it, and then the athletic department goes bankrupt overnight.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen, more than likely. But I think that even if the uniforms they wore...
You wear this color. What is it? Anthracite. Isn't it just gray? No. You cannot say that.
They looked like the freaking Raiders. And they played like them, too, thank God.
They didn't even look that much like the Raiders because they made the helmet white, and the pants weren't even, like, gray or silver. They
looked like dishwasher dirty. Like,
they were dingy.
Yeah, like it wasn't like a strong silver. I think on the boards I called them. I said that they looked like the Raiders without the charm and history that makes the Raiders work.
I like the uniforms themselves, but I just don't understand why you would do that, especially if you're going to go with superstition like a lot of teams do. They got their butts kicked the last time they tried this in a national championship game.
2 national championship games without wearing school colors, 2 losses, and then the first game after that loss to Auburn. I think in 2011 was when that national championship game was.
That sounds right, yeah.
Well, the first game of the season following that national title game, they wore an all-black and Volt uniform against LSU and lost that one. And, that sunk their national title aspirations right off.
You know what they were wearing in the first game against Arizona this year? Black, silver, and pink.
They really did, right?
Mm-hmm. I really hope someone at Oregon is superstitious, and they're like, look, we get our asses handed to us every time we do this. Maybe we should stop.
I got no problem with it. If they want to do that and we're going to kick their ass every time, hey, wear whatever you want. Fine by me.
It's like the football gods are like, you know what, Oregon? This was going to be your year. But then you had to be douchey about it.
Yeah.
So no.
I liked Ohio State. I like the Ohio State jerseys. I wasn't crazy about the black TV numbers, although it's a throwback to 1968. But the stripes, I think they've got to stick with these. They just look great.
I love that striping pattern, and I think it looks brilliant in Ohio State's color scheme.
Yeah. Anyway, we kind of did the whole national championship game thing on the football show, although when I was putting the show together and I was listening to it, I was like, my God, it's like I couldn't talk. I just sounded like giddy and nervous, and I listened to it and I said, I didn't say anything. We did 20 minutes and I didn't say a word except, wow, I can't believe it. Oh, this was really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we decided to do your favorite college team won a national title in amazing fashion.
And
what were you expecting from yourself?
I thought I might be able to come up with a little more analysis, but I was just like, well, they really
ask in the moment.
Yeah.
From what I saw from that game, there really wasn't much analysis to be had. It was kind of just a good old fashioned ass kicking.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, when they hit 3 turnovers, I said to my girlfriend, I said, we're done. There's no way. You never win when you have 3 turnovers, not against a good team. Then the 4th turnover, I'm like, well, that's that. And, if they hadn't had those 4 turnovers, Jesus, it could have been brutal. But anyway, it was fun. I'm still, what is it, 5 days later, 4 days, 3? What's today, Thursday?
Thursday, yes.
3 days later, I'm still basking in the glory of it. I'm looking at all the national champion stuff, and I'm going to go out and buy myself
Are there riots in the streets of Ohio, Greg?
Nope.
There were.
There were on campus, of course, yeah. Which
tore down the goalposts, set fires.
Well, there's a helicopter flying over my house right now, Mike. Maybe they are rioting.
Let's celebrate the football team winning the national championship by ensuring that they have to spend more money to repair the damage that we caused.
I was a little disappointed in them having to be tear gassed and all that.
Again, what did you want from them?
Right. It was a lot of fun, though. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to allow myself the indulgence of one national championship gear, like a sweatshirt or something. I don't know what yet.
You got to get the one that says undisputed national champs.
I know, but they've got this really cool, it's a red Nike, like dry fit long sleeve T-shirt. Just has a little Ohio State logo and then like a rendition of the beer tap on the front of it, which is really cool too.
Yeah, you know what was the most surprising about the ceremony now that we got around to that? The beer tap comes out of the base.
Yeah.
I was actually happy to see that.
And the
I thought it was all one giant.
So did I. And so, you really could make a beer tap out of it now because it comes right out of there. You could pop that sucker on and be good to go.
Yeah.
I liked it just because I thought that base, I thought, lifting that up is going to just be awkward. But the way that it comes off, it's still awkward, but it's not as bad.
And the nice thing about it is you don't have to worry about dropping it. I mean, you probably should worry about dropping it, but it's not going to bust into a gazillion pieces if you do.
Like the crystal ball.
Yeah,
but the crystal ball it's still around, right?
Yeah, it's still the coach's trophy.
And it's still stupid because it still looks like something that should be on the mantle at my grandmother's house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but now it's just part of the rest of the litany of trophies that they give away at the end of the year. It's so funny, like you see, like they finally do those final press conferences, and there's like 7 trophies in a row that all are just like a base with a football on top of it.
and they're all just variations of the national championship, right? There's like the playoff
the AP,
national champion.
There's the playoff one, there's the AP one, there's the coaches one, there's like the Hollywood Foreign Press, or I don't know, Golden Globes.
The Hollywood Foreign Press, that's the one that's most important to me. If I could get a T-shirt with that on it, that would be the one I'd go for.
Yeah.
I don't want to – I mean, I would love to. If you guys want to talk Ohio State all night, I'm up for it. But I don't think that you do, and I don't think that people want to listen to it. So what else we got tonight? Okay.
Well, I mean, there's other football. There's the other brand of football.
Speaking of the other football, kind of touching on what we talked about last week, the whole Rams to L.A. kind of deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones kind of, shared his 2 cents on it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
According to Jerry Jones, so take it with a grain of salt, but he basically just said if the Rams want to move to L.A., there's nothing the league can do to stop them.
No, they can discourage it. They can vote against it. They wouldn't have his approval, but neither did Al Davis, and he moved twice.
Wouldn't a team in Los Angeles benefit all the other owners too? Because wouldn't that make the rights fees go up accordingly? Wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see why they'd want to keep it out. The biggest thing that I can tell from it is that the NFL wants to control kind of the league coming back. They want to do it their way. And it's not so much that they don't want a team in LA, it's that they don't like the idea of Kroenke just being like, I'm doing this now, and screw you all if you don't like it.
I mean, I don't care one way or the other. If
But
the Rams want to come here, they can come here, and I'll support them.
From what I can tell, the penalties, if he moves without them, aren't exactly discouraging.
Yeah, he doesn't get some money from something, and then they wouldn't give him a Super Bowl.
Well, he wouldn't get financial assistance from the league, which he wouldn't need.
Yeah, you're in Los Angeles, you'll be fine.
He doesn't need that. He does, and I think there's something like he doesn't get the Super Bowl. But one, I think the NFL would crack on that eventually.
Sure.
And two, even if they don't, you could just pimp your stadium out for a college playoff game or a playoff national championship. So
sure.
even if you don't get the Super Bowl, you're not exactly going to be hurting for like big events.
I'm just thinking about it. Which team would they prefer over the Rams?
I don't think there's any team that they would want to move.
They just want to
or
have more
anyone
of a
they
say
could.
in it.
Right. They're fine with the Rams moving. They don't care. They want to do it their way. They don't want someone just to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to go." Mm-hmm. They just want to have more control over it.
And, they want to have more control over it, and I think that the way it works is because St. Louis is willing to put public money into their stadium proposal, or at least says they are. From what I could tell, St. Louis' stadium proposal didn't actually have any clear outline of where the money would come from.
No, of course not. It was just, look at the pretty pictures.
And the land that it was supposed to be on was not owned by the city, so I don't know where. So the land and money are up to debate, but I guess the idea is that St. Louis is willing to spend public money on it, so in the NFL's eyes, they don't want to just turn that down, whereas Kroenke just kind of wants to get out as soon as possible.
That whole thing was just publicity to try and say, hey, look, we made a thing. We tried really hard. Kroenke's the bad guy. Look at him. He's taking your team away. We made an effort.
It's very similar to what Cleveland did when the Browns move was announced. All of a sudden, they came up with the stadium proposal and the whole bit. It took them like 2 weeks to throw it together.
You can put together anything that's not going to happen.
Right. And I don't know if what ended up happening was based on what the original proposal was, but I guess, and I think Art Modell even brought this up, was that if this was available before, why did you wait until now to bring it up? Which would be my first question if I were Kroenke.
Well, that's what happened. Well, that's kind of what happened with St. Louis during this press conference when they announced this plan. Someone asked, is this about – are you only doing this in response to the move that Kroenke's moving to L.A.? Says like he's building a stadium in L.A. And he said, no, it's not about that. It's not about L.A. Well, if it's not about L.A., why didn't you do this 2 years ago? And the guy's response was, honest to God, I don't know.
Well, because we didn't think he would move 2 years ago. I can see it, though. I mean, if the NFL – thinks they can get a new stadium out of St. Louis and a new one out of Los Angeles, sure, that's what they're gonna want because they always want the new stadiums. The NFL doesn't matter who pays for it as long as they get the job done.
But the problem is once St. Louis moves, the Raiders aren't going to go to St. Louis.
Although I do want to see it just to see again Cardinals Nation and Raiders Nation collide.
And the Chargers aren't going to go to St. Louis.
No.
And the Rams would be the Jaguars would be the other team that you could think about, but they're locked in there, and apparently their owner really likes the situation, and he's putting money into it. So it's
Well, Jacksonville. I mean,
no one else is going to move if the Rams don't stay. Who would choose St. Louis over where they are right now?
I would only say Jacksonville because I think Jacksonville's the only market that's smaller than St. Louis. Mm-hmm. They might. Jacksonville, I think, would if they could, especially because their owner has ties to the St.Louis area. The only thing is, as Zach said, he's putting money into the stadium in Jacksonville, and the lease is pretty ironclad. That basically means that the Jags can't move.
Well, isn't that stadium?
And the only reason the Raiders would move is because they play in a urinal.
Yeah.
But isn't Jacksonville Stadium relatively recent? I mean, it's not.
It's new.
Yeah, they're not playing in like the old Gator Bowl or anything like that.
No, and they just put it in that giant TV screen and all that stuff.
So you could go to the Jags game to watch better football games.
Right.
I think it's going to be the Rams and Raiders ultimately who go back because.
You don't want those Raiders on, Zach?
Oh.
Well, you don't have. Well, you can root for the Rams. You don't have to be a Raiders fan.
I know, but they'll still be here.
Well, the thing that it seems is that San Diego keeps bitching about teams going back to L.A., but the fact of the matter is that they've had the stadium situation unresolved in San Diego for years now, and they've never once even hinted at moving to L.A. So. I don't really think they want to for whatever reason. I mean, it would be an upgrade in terms of market, but I just don't think they want to make the move. I think that when all is said and done, the Chargers will opt to remain in San Diego. And, I mean, let's face it, L.A. had two teams for years, and San Diego wasn't exactly in financial peril during that time. So I think the Chargers will ultimately work something out in San Diego, and I think you end up seeing the Raiders and the Rams move back, and then that'll be that.
Well, with the Chargers, yeah, LA's a bigger market. Other than that, if they stay in San Diego, they're competing with the Padres, and that's it, as far as the general entertainment dollar goes. You go to LA, and you've got the Dodgers, the Angels, whoever the football team turns out to be, the Lakers, the Clippers.
USC, UCLA.
The Ducks, the Kings. I mean, there's just I think I would rather stay where I'm the big game in town as opposed to being in a bigger town, but I'm just one of many, many fish.
Oh, definitely.
I got to tell you, though, I'm about over football. It's just like, God, I've just watched enough of it already this year. I'm just really ready for a break.
But just wait it out. You only have 3 weeks left.
I know.
Conference championships, Pro Bowl, and Super Bowl, and then you can be on your way.
Yeah.
Until April.
I was listening to what you guys were talking about, that call in the Dallas-Green Bay game.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to add my 2 cents while I had the opportunity. Agree with you guys entirely. Obviously a catch. The NFL is stupid. All that being said, karma's a bitch. Suck it, Cowboys.
Okay.
I have applied for a fantasy soccer team.
Really?
What?
Yes.
Welcome to the dark side, Mike.
See, here's the thing. This is
and now you get to see American hero Josie Altidore on Toronto FC. You're going to have so many things going on in your soccer life.
The Premier League of America, it is a fantasy soccer league, an MLS fantasy league out of the Kramer boards. Mm-hmm. And they have 2 slots open.
Oh, my God, I should apply for one.
And I posted on the Logo Asylum where some people were saying, hey, let's get some apps in. I jokingly said that I was going to submit an application for FC Toronto United SC Dynamo Real. 2.
I want to see that logo.
And then I was going to submit an application, and I said it would be particularly funny because while I'm not completely ignorant when it comes to soccer, I don't know nearly enough to make an educated go at fantasy soccer. But then everyone else was like, no, do it anyway. So I did.
So did you get the team?
The applications end at the end of the month. So
I should really apply for one.
Speaking of fantasy sports on the boards, I came to a revelation this week that Mike's aware of.
Yeah.
The CHL East, it's the NFC South.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike went on a 6-game losing streak, won a game, was in second place.
Here's the thing about our beloved Eastern Conference and the CHL.
You're 500, Greg. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? I just want to point out, too.
I'd be in first place by 2 games in your dumb conference.
I kicked your ass
I'm in third.
2 weeks ago without even putting my lineup in for like 3 days. So whatever.
I was in a swoon.
Sure.
Mike and I swung a big trade. I'm excited with the second half prospects for the Bolts.
Okay.
We did make a big trade. I'm very excited about that. And you know what, Greg? You may have kicked his ass, but I kicked your ass.
Oh, you beat me 5-3. Big deal.
It doesn't matter. It still happened.
Mike beat Greg. Greg beat me. I beat Mike. None of it matters. You all suck.
I mean, you want to talk scores? Let's talk Toledo Gold Diggers 7-1-2. Thunder Bay Bolts 1-7-2. That is the second worst defeat he's been handed this year.
But
even Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech, Greg.
Except that at the end of the year, we're the ones wearing the ring. So what do you think about that? Just wait till I start paying attention to my team again and watch how good we'll get.
No. You beat him 7-1 without paying attention. Obviously, paying attention is what's holding you back.
No, because I lost to you doing the same thing. So
okay. You flew too close to the sun, huh?
Well, I need to swing some deals. I've got a couple guys I've really been letting hang around too long. I haven't gone through in probably 3 weeks and gone through the available players and all that to kind of move some of the dead wood on my teams.
Zach is entirely right. I went on a 6-game losing streak, and then I won a game, and I'm back in second place in the division.
See, our conference is so good that we're like the SEC West.
We just keep cannibalizing each other.
When you get to the playoffs, we're going to crap out?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. No, one of us will make the championship because structurally we have to.
My fantasy teams, well, except the Gold Diggers this year, but I am fantastic in the regular season. The minute you put me in the playoffs, I fold up like a cheap suit. It's horrible.
I've got I won a game, and I'm not even a full game behind. I'm only a half game behind you, Greg.
All right, I'm gonna start paying attention here and put my Gold Diggers, put a little distance between me and the rest of this pathetic division. I think probably the biggest statement about the Eastern Conference of this league is that I'm in first place. That should say all you need to know about it right there.
Well, that's why I was so excited about the soccer thing, because Greg, if you apply and if you and I get teams, Greg, watch us battle it out for the championship at the end of that season. And both of us are basically just picking random names that we see out of a lineup.
I wouldn't even know where to go to look to pick people. I would have no idea, but it's just Yeah.
But unfortunately, I opted not to submit an application under the name Real FC Toronto SC United 2. Instead, I just went with the Toronto Rangers because I'm boring. But ultimately, the end result's going to be the same. I am going to dominate that league without knowing the names of the majority of the players in the league.
I hope it happens. That would be great. Look at these. Okay. I beat the Bolts. I think I beat the Mighty. No, I lost to the Ducks of Anaheim. And then, of course, we've got Michigan.
I went and finally looked at his roster. Doug, Michigan, is just – he's stacked. What happened?
Yeah.
Where'd that all come from?
I don't know.
Paying attention?
I don't even remember him saying anything during – was he even at the draft?
No.
Like, I don't remember him saying anything.
Yeah, he was. He was there. He was at the draft.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah, he was there. I don't think he said anything, though.
No, he talked some. Yeah, he was. I remember him being there.
He was just like a ninja. He was just there in the back. And he's like, yes, all of you idiots will make stupid decisions, but I'll build, like, the super team.
Hey, speaking of hockey and all that, Zach, are you surprised that they went with Nick Foligno as the captain?
Extremely.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody knows who Nick Foligno is.
Well, we do, but I mean,
Right,
around
Columbus
here,
does.
yeah.
And I hear he's fun, and he'll probably be great at the draft and whatever. But if I'm thinking of, if there's 3 Blue Jackets, and one of them, they pick an extra Blue Jacket because the game's in Columbus, right?
Right.
If I had to pick the 3, the one that's most recognizable would be Sergei Bobrovsky. So I would have chosen Bobrovsky as the captain.
Only
and
if
you choose maybe like Luongo as the other captain.
Only if Bobrovsky shows up to the draft in his cop uniform.
And with Jay Onrait announcing him.
Yeah.
But okay, I understand you don't want to have goalies be captains. Fine.
Discrimination.
But then, okay, you have Ryan Johansson. Oh, well, he's a young up-and-comer. He's going to be a superstar.
And
he's good.
And he needs the money.
Right.
No, you're thinking of Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So it's like, okay, Ryan Johansson then.
He's having a good season, too.
Yeah.
Other
So
than the
instead, we
minus
pick
12,
the guy
but...
that he's having a really good season, but nobody really knows. So when they go into the highlights, it's going to be, Team Taves and Team Foligno.
Yeah. I as far as national presence goes, yeah, he's probably not the guy I would have chosen either. I don't even know what kind of season he's having.
The way the whole All-Star roster's played out, the thing got screwed over by the Blackhawks getting 5 guys.
Well, between that and Latvia having like a holy crusade.
Well, Zemgus Girgensons was probably going to be the Sabres guy anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much that actually messed it up. But the fact that there were 5 Blackhawks, but then there's only 1 Anaheim Duck, there's only 1 Montreal Canadian, 1 San Jose Shark. Mm-hmm. It just, I don't know, it doesn't make a whole lot. Only 1 Nashville Predator.
I look forward to a Toronto Maple Leaf being picked last in the draft again. That was special.
Foligno's 18 goals, 23 assists, and a plus-minus of +3. He's having a pretty good year.
Yeah, he's having a good year, but that doesn't mean he's...
Yeah, I understand.
Nobody knows who he is.
Doesn't get to name a team after him.
If you really think about it, outside of Bobrovsky, is Johansson really that... You know what I mean? Is it that much of a difference? I mean, you would tell me. I don't know. I mean, because I'm familiar with all 3 of them because we hear about them all the time here. But
I mean, but so am I. But I would have to say no. Like... I don't know. It's bad for the Blue Jackets that say Jack Johnson didn't have a good year. Because then you could say, well, okay, Jack Johnson.
Right.
I mean, I would have gone with Bobrovsky just because he seems like the kind of guy who'd have fun with it.
Right.
Well,
I'm kind of mad that they wimped out and instead of making Rick Nash an actual captain, they made him an assistant.
Yeah, who got this? So it was Foligno, and then who was the other one?
Johnny Taves. And the assistant captains for Team Foligno are Drew Doughty.
Oh, I'm sure you're thrilled.
It doesn't matter to me. Because Ryan Getzlaf was named as assistant captain for Team Taves.
How about this?
The other one for Foligno is Patrick Kane.
How about this? How about
and
this?
You get Daryl Sutter as your head coach, Greg.
How about this for an all-star concept? We have a team of NHL All-Stars plays Team Latvia.
And we get the highest ratings in Latvia of all time.
And that's the goal, ultimately, right?
Well, the Latvian market
to grow the game.
The Latvian market has really, criminally underserviced by the National Hockey League.
I think so, too. I've always thought that.
Santa's Ojelin should have his number retired lead wide. Shouldn't just be Gretzky.
And Archis Urbe is right up there with the great goaltenders of all time.
He is, absolutely. Yeah, him and his pads.
His pads are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but his pads are.
Speaking of number retirements, I got to see. I got to see my legends, my boyhood idols number rise to the rafters.
That must have been awesome. That must have been awesome.
Dude, that picture you took was incredible. Did you take that with your phone?
Yeah.
That was a really good shot. He took a picture, Mike, of they were raising Solani's banner. Oh, did you see it?
No, for a moment I thought it was like a shot from like a magazine or ESPN or something.
How was it? Was it cool to be there and see all of it? And
it was cool. I mean, supposedly it was one of the longer number retirement ceremonies of all time.
I heard it was 90 minutes.
Holy hell!
93 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. The start of the game got pushed back by like 20 minutes. But it was awesome because, you sit there and they do the whole thing and all the old players come out. It was Scott Niedermayer, Chris Pronger, Todd Marchand, J.S. Jaguar, George Peros was there.
Was Paul Kariya there?
Paul Kariya was not.
No Paul Kariya?
Paul Kariya was not there. He supposedly had a pre-planned family ski trip to go to. And Teemu, they asked him about it. He's like, I'm going to kill him the next time I see him. Because, apparently because Korea showed up at his last regular season game last year. Mm-hmm. But Teemu had to call him every single day for 2 weeks straight to finally get him to go there. And even then, he had to convince him that he wouldn't have to walk through the crowd or anything. So Teemu had to get his son.
What the hell is up with Paul Kariya?
He's being really reclusive, and I think part of the thing too is why he didn't want to come to this is we've booed him every time he came back. And so I don't know if but it's been a while since he played. So, most of that has faded. They showed him in a tribute video, like they did an interview with him, and everybody cheered for him. And there's a mural in the building now with him on it.
What about the Iceman? Did the Iceman show up?
Teemu was not around during the Iceman's tenure, so no.
Why did I think that? No, that's right. He wouldn't have been. For some reason,
Teemu got there in '96.
For some reason, I thought he was on the inaugural team, but no. He wasn't.
No, but and then during some of the pre stuff, they asked Teemu like, what number do you want to see next? What number do you think should be retired after yours? And he said even without hesitation, he's like number 9. And I hated Paul when he left. I booed him so hard every single time.
See, you're part of the problem why he doesn't want to come back.
Yeah. No wonder.
As last year with the 20th anniversary stuff, and they show all of his highlights, and now with Teemu and like talking about him, and just you kind of the bitter part fades away a little bit, and you're reminded like, yeah, you know what, those two were awesome together. And
well, I mean, I know for a time there when you thought of the Ducks, those are the first 2 names that came to mind. Were those two, were Kariya and Solani.
Guy Hebert. I still think of Guy Hebert when I hear the.
He does the intermission reports now.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah. Good old Guy.
I must have. I bet you I've got 15 Guy Hebert hockey cards here in the house.
It's not Hebert. It's Guy Hebert. It's pronounced French, but he's from upstate New York.
Oh, okay.
Which
he's
is
not
funny.
Guy Herbert.
What did I
Guy
say?
Hebert. You said Guy Hebert. There's no H sound at all.
It's Hebert.
Hebert.
Yeah.
Guy Hebert.
It's Hebert. Come on, let's be honest about it. It's Hebert.
Which is funny because you think pretty good goal. You think pretty good goalie, French name. He's obviously French Canadian, but then it turns out he's not.
He's from like Rochester or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I thought it was obviously I'm not going to lie. 93 minutes seems a bit long. That's about the length of a Hollywood movie.
Dude, that's not that's like 3 innings of a baseball game. Come on, that's way too long.
They had everybody come out. They did the video tributes. Then the owners gave a speech. Gary Bettman gave a speech.
I'll bet you that went over well.
Oh, everyone booed him. And my grandpa's like, why are they booing him? Like, because he's terrible.
It would have been
Gary
funny.
Bettman.
It would have been funny if like they panned to the side and as Bettman was giving his speech, kind of saw like Solani behind him booing him.
Well, everyone was booing, and then he comes up and he's like, the funny thing is about being booed, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like you're saying Teemu, and we're all like,
oh, wow. So not only is he getting booed, and then he makes a really bad joke.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because the last time he was there and handing out the cup, he did his little thing, and we were all booing it, like, ooh, Gary Bettman, boo. He's like, it's okay, I'm bearing gifts. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's true.
But, aside from it being 93 minutes, I actually thought it was very well done. the opponent was great. You did against Winnipeg, and so like there's really no other better choice on that front.
And a couple times he played up. He's like, and all my time in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
You know, the 300, 400 Jets fans there, like, yeah, Winnipeg, that's us.
It's like professional wrestling. If you like name drop the city, people cheer you. Yeah. But I also thought it was great that both teams had the throwbacks during practice.
Yeah, the Ducks, they had everybody wore a different Teemu Ducks jersey, and then all the Winnipeg players wore his number 13.
There were Wild Wing jerseys.
They were improperly reproduced, but
both that and then the black Kings Light jerseys were
also wrong. Yep.
Yeah, they missed the shoulder patches on both of those.
They missed the shoulder patches on both. The black and purple one had a smaller logo on the front than it originally was. I think it didn't even have the felt on it, but I don't remember. And then the Wild Wing ones didn't have the shoulder patches, and it was rounded shoulders instead of pointed the pointed triangles.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and they were all $1,000.
Wow! You bought? How much stuff did you buy? Because you put a picture up and there was all this stuff. What all did you get?
Oh well, all the stuff that I put up. Some of that stuff I had already bought, and some of it was giveaway stuff. Like, okay, I bought a scarf. I bought the patch to put on my jersey. Then they gave away replica banners. And then there's a little program that's free, and then the ticket stub, which was special. It had a silver Teemu signature on it.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm trying to think of it, like if there's an athlete for me like that I would just, you know what I mean? Because he's clearly your favorite athlete ever. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. He's the best.
Mike, do you have anybody like that? Because I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't think I do.
The closest,
it's got to be Dougie.
Dougie Gilmore.
Dougie Gilmore, come on, man. No, it's Wendell Clark, dude. Come on.
Wendell.
Dougie and Wendell are awesome, but they were just a bit before my time. If it's anyone, it's going to be Curtis Joseph for me.
Oh yeah, Cujo.
Yeah.
I've actually got a jersey signed by Curtis Joseph to me. It was pretty. When my bar mitzvah was coming up, my bar mitzvah was like right in the middle of when Cujo and the Leafs were actually competitive and regular playoff contenders. And a friend of my parents actually works for the Vaughn Hockey Equipment Company, and so he deals with players regularly. And for my bar mitzvah gift, he got Cujo to sign a Maple Leafs jersey.
Cool.
And my parents still have it because I have nowhere to hang it.
And he personalized it too, like to Mike from
to Mike from Curtis Joseph.
Very cool. That's cool. Yeah, nice. But yeah, it has to be a goalie for you, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think real quick for me, it would probably be, if I could pick one, it would be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the baseball fan. But he's always been like my favorite athlete. I remember. They have the National, it's called, Sports Memorabilia Convention in Cleveland every couple of years. Mm-hmm. And he was there signing autographs. And I've always sworn I'd never pay for an autograph. But I thought if Kareem, if the price is right, I'll get one. But it was $125. I said, you know what? I will go over that line, but not for that much money. So I still kind of kick myself because I should have done it. But anyway.
Yeah, it would be Cujo. A close second for me would probably be Felix Potvin. But
okay.
Two Leafs goalies, but other than that,
yeah, you know, and we'll get to the tabs real quick here. But my second after Jabbar would probably be Mark Messier, which is, if you think about it, me being a big baseball fan like that, it's like my two guys are basketball and hockey. But anyway, shall we go on to the tabs, guys?
Let's.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, Zach's tabs.
Zach's tabs.
Well. Greg, you're our NASCAR guy.
Yes, sort of, yeah.
Did you hear about Kurt Busch?
No, what did he do now?
Wife?
No, what did they do now?
He accuses his wife of being a trained assassin.
Are you serious?
Busch said that Driscoll repeatedly asserted her assassin status and claimed that her work took her on missions across Central and South America and Africa. He recounted a time they were in El Paso when Driscoll left in camouflage gear only to return later wearing a trench coat and an evening gown covered in blood.
Wow.
A day earlier, Driscoll told him that she was a mercenary who killed people for a living and showed him pictures of bodies with gunshot wounds.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't understand what that means.
What the hell? Did he lose his mind or what?
His girlfriend keeps saying that like she doesn't know what he's talking about. He's been watching too many movies or something.
Apparently.
It sounds like he just saw Mr. and Mrs. Smith and was like, what if?
Or maybe.
She says that these statements made about being a trained assassin hired killer are ludicrous and without basis and are an attempt to destroy my credibility. I find it interesting that some outlandish claims come straight from a fictional movie script I've been working on for 8 years.
Maybe, though. Maybe it's all misdirection. Maybe she really is an assassin and he blew her cover. No, he's nuts.
But that's the thing. If you're a trained assassin that doesn't want to be seen, you don't marry a famous person.
Probably not. I don't. Well, wow. Wow. She says he needs professional counseling. You think? Okay.
Yeah, that's just.
That's great.
Something.
That's really great.
It's something, right?
Anyway, what's next?
Did you see what Tom Brady posted on Facebook?
Yes.
I did, yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's a picture of Tom Brady throwing a football while riding the Baltimore Colts Bucking Colt logo with just the caption, 6 days, AFC Championship.
This is why your guys are going to win, as I've been predicting all along.
I've got to put my chips on the side of the evil empire. Go Darth Brady.
So how do you feel about that, Zach?
Like I said on the football show, initially it was like, oh, I'm just happy to be here. I don't care if we lose. I don't think we're going to win. Now it's back to my time-old stance of screw the Patriots, screw Tom Brady. I want a helmet in his kneecap.
Tom Brady is going to win.
Okay.
And it's going to solidify him as the greatest quarterback of his generation.
You are out of your mind. Oh, this generation maybe? Okay. No,
I'm on the Joe Montana train.
Okay, good, because like I've said before, I won't even debate it.
I'm sure you love that commercial that's going on right now, Greg.
The one where
the Heisman trophies
flashes the rings. Yeah, that's great. Actually, Montana would be another guy. I don't know if I'd be like put him at like Kareem or Messier level, but Montana would be another one of my favorites.
But
anyway.
Also, Montana's acting in that Papa John's commercial is quite awful.
Oh, he's a horrible actor. Did you guys do you remember when he was on the NFL pregame show on ESPN or one of those? I don't remember which one, but he did a pregame show for about a month, and he was so bad. It was just awful.
Well, yeah, I don't see why that kept him off TV, considering that Ray Lewis still has a job.
This is the National Football League.
Oh, my God. Now we're going to have to go on an hour about Ray Lewis. I can't stand him.
When you do your job.
I just can't.
Well, speaking of Ray Lewis, one last thing before we get back on track to the tab, Zach. You might not have to worry about Tom Brady. There's a good chance that Ray Lewis will murder Tom Brady.
Or Kurt Busch's girlfriend will take him out.
Before the game, because apparently Ray Lewis went off on Tom Brady about how, like, if it weren't for the tuck rule, nobody would know who Tom Brady is.
They're men.
I don't believe that.
Nah.
All I'm saying, though, is that it's a very real possibility that Ray Lewis murders Tom Brady before the game.
Ray will gore him with his antlers is what will happen. I can hear him saying it now. If it wasn't for that tuck rule game, ain't nobody would have ever heard of Tom Brady. Fuck you, Ray. Fuck you. Fuck you and your antlers. Next.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
Okay, I can tell you were bottling that one up. All right,
what's next?
Well, let's see. Bit of news. There's going to be Sharknado 3.
Of course there is.
Awesome.
You can't just stop at 2 classics like that. You got to bleed that sucker dry, man.
You've got to complete the trilogy.
Exactly. The Sharknado trilogy.
Sharknado 3, the Sharkening.
Is that what it's being called?
No, but I hope it is.
I do know that on the upcoming Bags episode, we're going to be talking about Taken 3, Get Taken Harder.
TAC 3N.
spectacular. Yes.
So my question with Taken, okay, it was what, his wife the first time or his daughter?
It was his daughter the first time, his wife the second time, and
now the wife's dead, and so he has to go after the people that killed his wife.
This guy he's
got really bad luck.
Yeah, people just keep targeting his that was the problem with Taken 2.
And they don't understand that he has a very specific set of skills.
You think they would have learned after the wife the first time, right? Yeah. Is it the same guys every time that are coming after him?
It was the same guys in the second one, yes.
Okay.
Taken 2 was Taken 1 with a different victim.
And Taken 3 is going to be Taken 1 and 2 with the same victim but a different approach.
Also, Forrest Whitaker is there because apparently he needed work.
That's true.
So when does Sharknado 3 be? When do it be? Listen to me, that Ray Lewis thing's really gotten into my head.
That's what I'm trying to tell you about.
When do it be?
When do it be released, Zach?
When do it be? They're going to be filming it soon?
All right. I have not signed. Never mind.
Oh, Sharknado 3 hits the East Coast this summer.
All right.
They're going back to the East Coast.
It's going to be right up there alongside Lord of the Rings and the original Star Wars trilogy. It's going to be a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ron Ford made a cameo in the last one.
I've purposely decided I'm not watching any of them until they come out on Blu-ray as a package set with all the special features and everything. Then I'll sit down and I will bask in the glory of Sharknado. So is that it?
Yes.
That is it. Okay, well, a nice, quick, brisk show tonight, and we will do it again next week. Basically, a football show. We'll be coming back to you with Super Bowl participants this week. We will know.
Ooh.
And if there's a good Lord above us, it will be the Packers and the Colts in the Super Bowl.
I'm pulling for Packers Patriots. They're the best teams.
Who cares about that? Packers Colts in the Super Bowl because of the uniforms, because Tom Brady won't be there, and for a lot of
it would ensure a second trophy in 2015 coming to the Bass compound.
Exactly, yeah. We've already picked up our first college football national championship trophy on the compound. Mm-hmm. We lost the Stanley Cup last year, but we might have a shot at getting it back this year.
So if the Pack or Colts win the Super Bowl,
right?
Yes.
I say, if either of those two win it, I say we start a counter to see if we can go for a clean sweep of all the major championships in the year.
Well, let's see. We'd have to have...
The Ducks would have to win.
We'd have to have the Ducks. Yeah, the Blue Jackets and the Maple Leafs aren't going to do it.
Come on.
Wait, I forgot. We didn't even talk about that yesterday. Mike.
Yeah.
Did the Maple Leafs show up last night? I'm still waiting.
See, I don't get what's happening.
I mean, the obvious answer what they got to do now, Mike, is fire Randy Carlyle.
Oh, wait.
That already happened.
Oops.
Thanks, Phil Kessel, for getting our coach fired. I don't know, man. I kind of... First of all, I wouldn't have thrown my jersey on the ice because I paid, a lot of money for it.
Yeah, they threw the jersey on the ice in Anaheim. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Are people going to notice?
At this point, I'm like, whatever. Go Leafs. Be drunk and happy. That's the only way I'm watching the Leafs this season. Drunk and happy.
But anyway, so we will be back with another edition of Basically a Football Show this week. And as I said, we will have our Super Bowl participants by then. Mm-hmm. As you heard at the top of the show, Basically a Geek Show will be recording on Saturdays now. So be looking forward to another episode of that. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website, basicallyasportshow.com, and check us out on Spreaker, iTunes, and Stitcher. And with that, we're going to call it a night.
Go Colts.
Go Pack.
Go Leafs.
Please hang up and try again.